I had dinner with Meghan Markle the other night. Well, she was at the same table. So I can't say, she wasn't my guest. We were both guests at a dinner party in California. And she had just gotten back from the palace. And I think I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple.
Sometimes a royal story does not begin with a balcony, a palace gate, a public statement, or a carefully staged photograph. Sometimes it begins at a dinner table in California, with one guest casually mentioning what another guest had been talking about, and suddenly the entire image a celebrity has been trying to build starts to wobble. That is why the Martha Stewart moment matters. On the surface, it sounds almost small. Martha says she and Meghan Markle were at the same dinner, that Meghan had recently returned from seeing the royal family, and that she seemed to be discussing the trip. Meghan's side then pushes back, saying Martha must have misunderstood, that they were not seated next to each other, and that Meghan only said the family had enjoyed their vacation. But the reason this became a story is not because people desperately needed to know the seating chart at one California dinner party. It became a story because Meghan's entire public problem right now is trust. Every tiny detail.
A source close to Meghan saying that Martha must have been confused because the pair were not seated next to one another. I'm sorry, Meghan. We believe Martha.
Yeah.
Martha, who has, 7 decades of telling us the truth. What you have, Meghan, is 10 years of lies. So I'm sorry.
Right.
I trust Martha.
That's
and
right.
you're calling
You don't
Martha
trust-
a liar. Oh no, she can't even.
Is judged against years of interviews, documentaries, brand launches, royal complaints, lifestyle reinventions, and private family matters that became public entertainment. In that context, a simple Martha Stewart comment lands like a needle on a balloon. What makes it sharper is the contrast between the two women. Martha Stewart is not merely another celebrity giving an opinion. She is the original American domestic empire builder, the person who turned cooking, entertaining, gardening, design, organization, and household authority into a massive commercial universe. People may like her or dislike her, but they know what she represents: competence, discipline, taste, and a very particular kind of earned expertise. Martha can talk about food, flowers, linens, kitchens, and entertaining because she spent decades proving she knew the work behind the image. That is why her skepticism about Meghan's move into lifestyle television carried weight. She was not saying a former actress can never cook, or that a duchess can never have a garden, or that someone cannot reinvent themselves. Martha herself is proof that reinvention is possible. She has survived scandal, prison, public humiliation, and changing media habits. But she seemed to be making a more uncomfortable point. An image only works when the public believes there is substance underneath it. A person cannot simply walk through a series of glamorous labels, from actress to princess to lifestyle host, and expect each new title to transfer automatic credibility. That is the central trouble with Meghan's current phase. She is not short of platforms. She has Netflix, Archwell, Instagram, interviews, brand partnerships, friends in the entertainment world, and an audience that still watches everything she does, whether warmly or critically. What she is short of is believability. The new lifestyle project asks viewers to accept Meghan as relaxed, maternal, generous, creative, domestic.
I had dinner with Meghan Markle the other night. Well, she was at the same table. So I can't say, she wasn't my guest. We were both guests at a dinner party in California. And she had just gotten back from the palace. And I think I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple words, but I know she was talking about it. If you're an actress, it's hard to then transition to a princess, and then from a princess into a homemaking guru on a television show. It doesn't sort of follow. So go.
Now, when it comes to Oprah Winfrey, all of a sudden she has had this
and quietly wise. Yet the public memory surrounding her is not quiet. It is loud. It includes the Oprah Winfrey interview, the Netflix series, the podcasts, the book tour around Prince Harry's memoir, family grievances, staff stories, complaints about palace life, and the repeated sense that private matters become content whenever the Sussex brand needs oxygen. So when Meghan appears in a soft girl power setting with children, or talks about keeping a good heart, or links herself to Girl Scouts cookies and jam, critics do not see a simple promotional moment. They see another performance. And the harder the performance tries to feel natural, the more scripted it can appear. The Girl Scouts project should have been one of the easier wins. Cookie Queens, the documentary Meghan and Prince Harry backed through Archwell Productions, has a genuinely appealing premise. It follows ambitious young Girl Scouts who sell cookies, learn confidence, understand money, meet people, and discover that leadership can start with something as ordinary as a table, a sign, and a stack of thin mints. Meghan also has a personal connection because she was a Brownie and Junior Girl Scout when she was young. On paper, that is exactly the sort of project that should fit her current image. Female entrepreneurship, childhood confidence, community, mothers and daughters, practical ambition, and a wholesome American tradition. But even here, the public discussion did not stay on the documentary for long. It moved almost instantly to Meghan's manner, her answers, her expressions, and whether she seemed genuinely connected to the girls in the promotional footage. That is a brutal place for any public figure to be. When the audience no longer takes the message at face value, every smile becomes evidence, every pause becomes strategy, and every sweet sentence becomes something to decode. The phrase about keeping a good heart is a perfect example. It is the sort of line that, in another setting, would pass by without controversy. It is simple, sentimental, and harmless. A person can remember a teacher, repeat a lesson from childhood, and connect it to the way young girls see the world. But with Meghan, the line immediately collided with everything her critics believe about her treatment of family. They do not hear a warm reflection, they hear contradiction. They think of Thomas Markle, who remains estranged from his daughter. They think of Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the painful years of public tension before Catherine's cancer diagnosis. They think of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip spending their final years under the shadow of the Sussexes' accusations. They think of the way the Oprah interview cast the institution and unnamed family members in a deeply damaging light. Supporters would answer that Meghan has been attacked for years, that estrangement is complicated, that the royal family briefed against her, and that she is entitled to tell her story.
Connect with these 7-year-olds and failing.
Meghan, what is something you were told as a child that still guides you today?
My teacher, Miss Pulia, said, keep a good heart. I just think it's one of those simple things that you can always remember no matter what situation you're in. Just keep a good heart.
What do you think young girls teach adults that adults sometimes...
But in the court of public emotion, the problem remains. A public message of kindness becomes fragile when the audience believes the messenger has unresolved cruelty in her own story. This is why Martha Stewart's comment traveled so quickly. Martha did not need to give a long speech. She did not need to analyze the Sussex brand for 30 minutes. She only had to say, in her blunt way, that Meghan had been at the same dinner, had just returned from what Martha called the palace, and had been talking about it. Immediately, people understood the implication. Highgrove was not supposed to be content. King Charles was reportedly adamant that the family reunion be kept private. Buckingham Palace confirmed that Charles and Queen Camilla hosted Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet at Highgrove House on the 10th of July 2026, but the palace offered no photos and no details because it was described as a private family visit. That privacy was the whole point.
I mean, P. Dinah, firstly, you can just tell, can't you? There is no connection between her and those kids. She can't stand those kids. She's giving them odd looks. She's going through the motions. I mean, she's not someone, we've seen this a lot over the years, she's not someone that connects with kids. But to try and sell the idea of heart and being a good person and love and using children to do that, I just don't think this is the right strategy to sell this movie, because all anyone's saying is like, Meghan, if you had a heart, you'd speak to your dad. You know, if you had a heart, you wouldn't have done that to Prince Philip. If you had a heart, you wouldn't have done that to Elizabeth II. Do you know what I mean? The strategy is whack.
King had not seen his Sussex grandchildren in years. Harry wanted his children to experience Britain. The family security dispute had already made the trip sensitive. If there was any hope that Highgrove could become a first step toward repair, discretion was not optional. It was the price of entry. So when the California dinner story emerged, the question became less about whether Meghan said one sentence or 10 sentences. It became about instinct. Does she instinctively understand that a private reunion with the king is not social currency? Does she understand that for Charles, privacy is not a public relations accessory, but a necessary condition for trust? Does she understand that a single offhand dinner table mention can be enough to make palace aides nervous, even if no deep secret was shared? Meghan's side clearly understood the danger, because a source pushed back quickly and insisted the account was not right. According to that version, Meghan was asked about the trip, said it was nice, and did not go into detail. That may be true. Martha may have heard part of a conversation. Someone else may have exaggerated the tone. But the reason the denial did not end the story is that public trust does not operate like a legal transcript. When people already suspect a pattern, they interpret ambiguity through that suspicion. There is also a very awkward word at the center of the story: palace. Highgrove is not Buckingham Palace. It is King Charles's private Gloucestershire home, one of the places most closely associated with his personal life, his gardens, his environmental views, and his quieter side, away from the state machinery of monarchy. Calling it the palace may have been casual shorthand, or it may have been Martha repeating Meghan's language, or it may have been a simple misunderstanding. But even that small slippage matters, because it shows the gap between royal privacy and celebrity storytelling.
Meghan just can't win. There's no way for her to win, but to really, really, truly, and believably change your attitude, change who you are. You can't just, get the questions and craft an answer that sounds good and think people are going to buy it. We live in a completely different age now with technology, and so much has been said and talked about with Meghan. The consumer is a lot more, attuned to the kind of person Meghan is. And so it's just falling on deaf ears with her. And she just doesn't even look comfortable. She looks so scripted. And
in Hollywood, the word palace creates drama. It sounds grand, cinematic, and instantly recognizable. In royal terms, it is imprecise. And precision matters when the entire Sussex problem is built around what was said, what was meant, what was briefed, what was denied, and what was later remembered differently. The monarchy runs on hierarchy, wording, silence, precedent, and protocol. The celebrity world runs on impressions, access, anecdotes, and shareable moments. Meghan and Harry have spent years trying to live between those systems, and this is why the arrangement keeps causing trouble. The lifestyle brand has the same problem. Meghan wants the freedom of a California entrepreneur while retaining the aura of British royalty. She wants the intimacy of a homemaker while retaining the mystique of a duchess. She wants the credibility of a working producer while still benefiting from the fascination created by royal titles. She wants the warmth of jam, flowers, kitchens, dogs, and children. But the market does not forget that the original selling point was never strawberry preserves. It was proximity to the crown. As ever may be presented as a gentle, seasonal, personal brand, but the attention around it is not driven by recipes alone. It is driven by who Meghan married, what she left, what she said afterward, and whether the royal connection can still be monetized without appearing to exploit the very family she left behind. That is why even the jam conversation became bigger than jam. The original transcript mocked the idea of dipping Girl Scout cookies in jam, and the criticism was crude, but the underlying point is worth adapting carefully. When Meghan connects her brand to a Girl Scouts documentary, people ask whether the connection feels organic or opportunistic.
oh yeah, Martha, she hits. She's gangsta. I'm telling you, this is a woman that rolls with Snoop Dogg. She's been to prison, and she still has it. She's going to say what she wants to say. It doesn't matter. And bless Martha Stewart for coming out and even saying this. I think a lot more celebrities that have been in contact with Meghan need to call her out. They need to say things that we're all thinking, because we don't respect them, but we totally respect Martha Stewart for saying what, just in the very casual, nonchalant.
Thin mints are an American cultural object in their own right. Girl Scout cookies already have nostalgia, identity, local community, and a sales tradition around them. Meghan inserting jam into that world can look to critics like an attempt to attach as ever to a beloved institution. Supporters might say this is normal lifestyle branding. A person promoting a documentary about cookies can talk about cookies. A person with a fruit spread brand can suggest pairings. There is nothing inherently scandalous about that. But once again, the question is not whether the act is allowed. The question is whether it feels real. In Meghan's case, a harmless food detail can become a referendum on authenticity. Martha Stewart is dangerous to Meghan precisely because Martha cannot easily be dismissed as someone who does not understand the lifestyle business. If a tabloid columnist sneers at Meghan's cooking show, Sussex defenders can blame envy or media hostility. If an anonymous royal source criticizes Meghan's discretion, defenders can say the palace is briefing again. If a social media account mocks a birthday video, defenders can say the internet is toxic. But Martha Stewart represents the lane Meghan is trying to enter. Martha knows the difference between a pretty kitchen and an authority brand. She knows the difference between a recipe that has been tested and an aesthetic that has simply been arranged for camera. She knows that domestic influence is not built by declaring oneself gracious, thoughtful, and seasonal. It is built by making people believe you can actually teach them something. So when Martha expresses doubt about the transition from actress to duchess to lifestyle guru, it punctures the fantasy from inside the category Meghan wants to conquer. That does not mean Meghan has no path forward. The more interesting question is what a successful version of Meghan's reinvention would actually look like.
She can just never shut up, right? Because today she has been briefing to the Daily Mail, trying to make us believe that Martha Stewart was lying. A source close to Meghan saying that Martha must have been confused because the pair were not seated next to one another. The insider said, and this has clearly come directly from her team to the Mail, Meghan was asked by someone else about her European vacation. She said it was nice and that was the extent of it. I think she must.
It would probably require less royal seasoning, not more. It would require accepting that the title draws attention, but also poisons the work if it is used too heavily. It would require fewer staged moments of wisdom and more proof of skill. It would require recipes that people actually cook, products that people buy because they are good rather than because the Duchess touched them, and projects that stand without constant reference to grievance, survival, or palace proximity. It would also require a longer period of silence around the royal family than Meghan and Harry have ever managed. In a credibility crisis, every new explanation sounds like another campaign. Sometimes the only way to regain trust is to stop feeding the argument and let actions pile up quietly. Oprah Winfrey's presence in this wider story is important because she is tied to the moment that changed everything. The 2021 interview did not simply introduce Meghan's allegations to a global audience. It gave those allegations Oprah's authority. Oprah was not a random host. She was one of the most powerful interviewers in American media, a figure associated with emotional truth, vulnerability, confession, and public catharsis. When she sat with Harry and Meghan, the tone told viewers that a major moral reckoning was taking place. Many believed it, many still do. But over time, other viewers began to revisit that interview with more skepticism. They questioned the lack of follow-up on some claims, the way the royal family was accused through implication, and the emotional architecture of the broadcast. Oprah's brand became entangled with the Sussex brand, and that connection has not aged cleanly with critics. This is why the criticism around Meghan's birthday felt so chilly. A birthday should be a soft news day. Meghan turned 45 on the 4th of August, 2026.
Right, just make it worse, don't you? Just make it worse for yourself. Like, just shut your mouth. We don't believe you. And we believe Martha because she keeps it real. Like, why would she be confused or make something up like that? This woman is winning, and you're not. So we know the person that is not winning is going to lie, make up things. So we believe Martha. She wasn't confused. Meghan is just trying to get out of the obvious trouble that she is in, because I would think it's game over because of, what has been said about her time with.
And shared playful images and video from Montecito. A pool jump with balloons, a kitchen dance, pajamas, a birthday headband, dogs in party hats, and Prince Harry seemingly filming the scene. Supporters saw a woman enjoying herself at home, laughing, being silly, and thanking people for their wishes. Critics saw a performance of carefree happiness designed to cover a public image crisis. The royal family did not post public birthday wishes, which some treated as a snub, though royal commentators noted that Meghan is not a working royal, and that official birthday messages for non-working royals are generally limited. King Charles may well have sent a private message, but because Meghan's public story is built on status, visibility, and acknowledgement, the silence looked louder than it might have looked for someone else. The alleged absence of major celebrity birthday tributes fed the same narrative. Reports and commentary suggested Meghan had hoped for something grander, something reminiscent of the old era when Oprah, Serena Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, Amal Clooney, and other A-list names helped frame her as Hollywood royalty. Whether or not there was ever a serious plan for a major party, the perception is revealing. Meghan's critics believe the celebrity world has cooled on her. They point to the thinner public support, the quieter famous friends, the awkward distance that sometimes seems to surround the Sussexes, and the sense that people who once rushed to appear aligned with them now prefer caution. Celebrity friendships are often strategic, and public support becomes risky when a brand turns polarizing. Meghan still has loyal allies, but the old impression of unstoppable Hollywood embrace is gone. That change matters because the Sussex strategy after royal life depended heavily on the idea that they could swap palace proximity for global celebrity power. If Hollywood becomes polite rather than enthusiastic, the whole bargain looks weaker. Then there is Montecito, the mansion that has become almost a character in the Sussex story. The house represents freedom, escape, privacy, American reinvention, and post-royal luxury. It is the physical answer to the question Meghan and Harry posed in 2020. Can we leave the royal system and build a different life on our own terms? But a large, expensive California estate also represents pressure. It must be maintained. It sits inside a neighborhood where status is expensive and comparisons are constant. Every glimpse of the kitchen, garden, pool, dogs, entryway, or family decoration becomes part of the brand. When real estate sites write about the home, or when old photographs and new social media clips are compared, commentators immediately wonder whether the house is being quietly marketed, whether the couple's finances are tighter than they admit, or whether the mansion itself has become too costly a symbol to carry. None of that proves a sale is imminent. A home can be written about because Meghan remains newsworthy, but the speculation exists because people sense strain between the Sussex image and the economic reality of sustaining it. The money question matters because Harry and Meghan's post-royal pitch was not only emotional, it was commercial. In January 2020, at the time of the Sandringham negotiations, they wanted a new model: independence, income, charitable work, royal connection, selective duties, control over schedule, and a life split between Britain and North America. The late Queen rejected the half-in, half-out version as an official arrangement, but in a messy, unofficial way, Harry and Meghan have tried to create something similar anyway. They kept the titles, they kept some charitable and veteran-facing work, especially through Well Child, Scotty's Little Soldiers, and Invictus. Harry continues to appear in the UK on his own timetable. Meghan and the children remain primarily based in the United States. The couple still touch royal life when it benefits them, but they are not under palace discipline. A sympathetic analysis might say they got much of what they wanted. But getting what you ask for is not the same as winning. A person can achieve the structure and lose the meaning. Harry and Meghan may have freedom, but freedom without trust is lonely. They may have titles, but titles without duty become marketing tools. They may have income, but if every deal must be fed by personal revelation or royal adjacency, the model is unstable. They may have a flexible schedule, but if each UK visit creates security battles, palace briefings, legal drama, and family anxiety, flexibility turns into friction. They may have access to Charles, at least occasionally, but if William remains distant and the wider family cannot trust what will stay private.
Out there, because I think a lot of people already know about it. I think it's been circulating for a while now, and clearly she is trying to get it out there that things are improving with the home or whatever. Like, people may or may not be interested in it. I don't know. I just think, Meghan is in a world of hurt around a lot of things, and this is just another example of something that she's trying to, get out of in terms of the debt that they're in, and they cannot afford that home. It's so many things that are going wrong, and
access does not become reconciliation. That is why the scorecard argument is only half persuasive. Yes, the Sussexes still have parts of the life they wanted. No, that does not mean the experiment looks healthy. This is where the rumoured apology story becomes fascinating, even if it should be treated cautiously. Reports claimed advisors had discussed whether Harry and Meghan might issue a carefully worded public apology as part of a royal reset. The idea, as described, would not be to retract everything from the past 5 years, but to acknowledge pain and signal respect for King Charles. Strategically, one can see why advisors might float it. The Highgrove meeting created a rare opening. Charles is a father, not only a monarch. He is dealing with cancer and legacy. Harry wants his children to know their grandfather and their British heritage. Meghan needs the royal connection to stop looking poisonous. A statement expressing regret for the breakdown in relationships could soften the public mood. It could give Charles something to respond to privately. It could suggest maturity after years of accusation. The problem is that a vague apology may satisfy nobody. If Harry and Meghan say they regret the pain of the past years without acknowledging their own choices, critics will call it wordplay. If they apologize directly for the interviews, the Netflix series, or Spare, they undermine the moral foundation of the Sussex narrative. If they apologize to Charles but not to William and Catherine, the family split remains. If they apologize privately, the public may never believe it happened. If they apologize publicly, it becomes another media event, which may be exactly what the palace fears. An apology only works if the person receiving it believes it costs the giver something. If the wording is too carefully engineered, it can look less like remorse and more like reputation management. Harry, in particular, has repeatedly stood by his version of events. Asking him to walk back even a portion of it would require a humility he has not often shown in public. Still, the existence of such a rumour tells us something about the pressure around the Sussex project. A confident brand does not need to discuss apologies to rebuild trust. A confident family relationship does not need to consider statement drafts as diplomatic instruments. A confident Hollywood position does not need royal forgiveness to renew its shine. The apology idea exists because everyone can see the same problem. Harry and Meghan cannot fully move forward while remaining emotionally and commercially tied to the conflict that made them famous after leaving. Their grievances built the first wave of attention, but grievance is not a sustainable identity. Eventually, audiences ask, what comes next? If the answer is jam, pajamas, cookie documentaries, birthday clips, and carefully managed royal access.
Well,
nothing.
Of course, because Rob Shooter now reporting that there's this almost like double hell coming. Harry and Meghan considering what was previously unthinkable, a public royal apology. And that comes as A-listers are avoiding her birthday. So let's get to this story first, P. Dinah. Shooter reports Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may be preparing for their most significant royal reset yet. Multiple sources tell Naughty But Nice that behind the scenes, serious discussions are underway about whether the Duke and Duchess of Sussex should issue a carefully crafted public apology as part of their effort to rebuild trust with the King and ultimately.
Critics will ask whether the revolution ended in a lifestyle catalogue. The central lesson of this latest controversy is that privacy cannot be selectively sacred. The Sussexes have often argued correctly that privacy does not mean disappearing. A private citizen can still work, appear publicly, make documentaries, launch products, and speak on causes. But family privacy is different. If a person has built a brand by revealing family tensions, then future family moments are judged through that history. Charles's reported insistence on privacy at Highgrove was not a mere preference, it was a test. The test was whether Harry and Meghan could participate in a royal family moment without turning it into a narrative asset. The dinner party dispute created doubt around that test. Even if Meghan's camp insists she said almost nothing. In the world of trust, doubt is often enough. There is a deeper cultural story here too. Meghan is trying to sell softness in an age that has become suspicious of curated softness. The Instagram kitchen, the handwritten sounding product copy, the flowers, the jam, the fruit, the dogs, the children, the sentimental childhood lessons, the gentle voice, the domestic rituals, all of it belongs to a very recognizable influencer language. It asks the viewer to believe that beauty and virtue live in the same frame. Martha Stewart's older version of domestic authority was highly styled too, but it was anchored in instruction. You could learn how to fold, cook, plant, polish, roast, arrange, bake, wrap, or host. Meghan's version often feels, to critics, more like atmosphere than knowledge. It creates a mood, but the audience wants proof. That is why Martha's one-pan pasta can be jokingly called the original and best, while Meghan's food moments become memes.
Things have happened though. What do you think?
Well, first of all, the fact that they were saying that you don't have to apologize or walk back everything that you've done. Well, yeah, you do. Like, that didn't even make sense to me then. First of all, yes, you have to say that you made the mistakes, not that the past 5 years or whatever, 6 years have caused enormous pain. That is complete nonsense. They would have to go say exactly what they're saying they don't have to do.
Martha built trust through utility. Meghan is still trying to build trust through association. That may be the biggest strategic misread. Royal titles do not automatically transfer into lifestyle authority. Celebrity friends do not automatically transfer into consumer loyalty. Netflix visibility does not automatically transfer into affection. A duchess in a kitchen is visually interesting once. After that, the audience asks what the kitchen is for. Is it teaching, selling, repairing an image, displaying wealth, proving motherhood, replacing the palace? The more purposes the scene is asked to carry, the less natural it feels. Meghan's brand keeps trying to be many things at once. Aspirational but relatable, royal but independent, maternal but glamorous, wounded but powerful, private but constantly visible, American but titled, casual but immaculate, spiritual but commercial. A brand can hold tension, but too much tension turns into confusion. Prince Harry faces a parallel problem. His public identity after leaving royal life has been built around trauma, security, media intrusion, and family rupture. Those are serious subjects. But when legal cases fail, when security arguments become repetitive, when royal visits seem tied to status disputes, and when reconciliation stories are followed by more leaks and briefings, the public begins to tire. Harry's genuine pain over his mother, the press, and his place in the monarchy gets mixed with questions about money, ego, entitlement, and strategy. The result is that even sincere motives are interpreted cynically. That is the same trap Meghan is in. When trust erodes, sincerity cannot simply announce itself. It has to be demonstrated over time, usually without applause. The harsher reading is that the campaign has run out of coherence.
also reporting in another exclusive that Meghan did actually want a big birthday for her 45th, but no one wanted to be part of it. He reported sources telling him that the original plan was an over-the-top party worthy of the lavish New York baby shower and fairy tale royal wedding that once defined her life. Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, Serena Williams, Amal Clooney. Meghan loves a big party, one source tells Naughty But Nice. She envisaged another iconic celebrity gathering where everyone who's anyone would be there. It was supposed to remind the world she was.
The Sussexes wanted moral authority, celebrity freedom, royal cachet, financial independence, family access, press control, and public sympathy all at once. For a while, the sheer drama of their break from royal life made that seem possible. But 5 or 6 years later, the contradictions are harder to hide. The monarchy is still standing. William and Catherine remain central to the future of the crown. Charles, despite illness and family pain, still holds the position Harry cannot ignore. Meghan's Hollywood circle appears less publicly enthusiastic, the brand deals are more closely examined, the lifestyle pivot is being judged by people who actually know lifestyle, and every attempt to look joyful or healed is measured against the damage that came before. That is why the Martha Stewart episode is more than gossip. It shows the difference between borrowed prestige and earned authority. Meghan borrowed royal prestige through marriage and then tried to convert it into personal empire. Martha earned domestic authority through work and then converted it into cultural power. Oprah earned interview authority through decades of television and then lent it to the Sussex story. King Charles inherited royal authority but must preserve it through restraint, continuity, and institutional seriousness. Harry inherited status but has struggled to define what that status means outside duty. These different kinds of authority are now colliding, and the public is asking which ones still hold. If Meghan wants the Martha problem to fade, the answer is not another denial, another poetic email, another birthday clip, or another perfectly arranged kitchen moment. The answer is consistency. Do not make private royal contact feel like a talking point. Do not ask children to carry an adult image campaign.
Dan Wakeford's analysis in his Celebrity Intelligence, and we do point out he was a mainstream media supporter of Harry and Meghan for many, many years, but his argument is actually that Harry and Meghan have got exactly what they wanted 5 years after leaving the royal family. And he spells it out into 5 different asks. He calls it the scorecard. And he writes, Pidina, 1 is the title and family access. He says that's kept and warming. 3, visit to Charles.
Do not over-explain every criticism. Do not enter a field like lifestyle unless the work itself can stand beside people who built that field from the ground up. Do not confuse attention with trust. And above all, do not treat the audience as if they have no memory. The audience remembers the Oprah interview. It remembers the Netflix series. It remembers Spare. It remembers the family rifts. It remembers the claims of wanting privacy. It remembers the brand launches. It remembers the staged tenderness and the public pain. That memory is now the backdrop to everything Meghan does. The same applies to Harry. If he truly wants reconciliation with King Charles, then the most powerful statement may not be a statement at all. It may be a long period of disciplined silence. Visit privately. Leave privately. Let the children build real relationships away from cameras. Stop using every dispute as a public moral battle. Accept that the security question, however important to him, cannot be the only lens through which Britain is approached. Accept that Charles is not just a father to be persuaded, but a monarch protecting the institution he serves. Accept that William's trust, if it ever returns, will return slowly or not at all. Harry has often spoken about breaking cycles. The hardest cycle for him to break may be the cycle of converting pain into public narrative. This latest chapter, therefore, leaves Meghan and Harry at a familiar crossroads, but with less patience around them than before. They can keep insisting that every criticism comes from cruelty, jealousy, racism, sexism, palace briefing, tabloid poison, or online negativity. Some of those forces have been real, but they can also recognize that they have trained the public to watch them this way. They made the royal family a subject of global debate. They built a brand on personal truth. They blurred the line between privacy and promotion.
They have shown up in view of all the celebrities and people that view them. I don't think it's a win at all for them. I think these are the crumbs, the leftovers, the things that you would get just by default. I mean, the bigger picture is completely devastating of the things that they did not get. You know, they are a complete laughingstock. They are an embarrassment. They are the butt of jokes. They are not to be taken seriously. And Harry is not making nearly the money that he had hoped. I mean, he has come down on his asking price for even giving speeches now. So
they ask to be believed, and belief has to be maintained. Martha Stewart did not create that problem. Oprah did not create all of it either. The tabloids did not create all of it. The public did not create all of it. The problem is cumulative, and that is why a dinner table anecdote can become a reputational event. The irony is that Meghan's best chance now may be the least glamorous option available to her. Become boringly competent. Less mystical language about summer rhythms. More useful products. Less royal implication. More independent value. Fewer emotional lectures. More evidence of actual skill. Less obsession with being seen as kind. More quiet acts that make kindness unnecessary to announce. Less effort to appear above criticism. More willingness to let criticism pass. Without a counter briefing. In the lifestyle world, trust is built in tiny repetitions. A recipe works. A product arrives well packaged. A show teaches something. A recommendation proves useful. A host seems at ease. A story does not change every time it is challenged. That is the unromantic work behind the beautiful photograph. So the story is not really about whether Martha Stewart was confused at dinner. It is about whether Meghan Markle understands the difference between being talked about and being trusted. It is not really about whether Oprah is right that people have become meaner. It is about whether powerful storytellers can accept that audiences now challenge the story. It is not really about whether Meghan had a silly birthday dance in her kitchen. It is about why so many viewers watched a playful clip and saw strategy instead of joy. And it is not really about whether Harry and Meghan technically got parts of the half-in, half-out life they once wanted. It is about whether the life they built has produced the dignity, peace, and freedom they promised themselves. At this point, the Sussexes do not need another dramatic rebrand. They need a credibility reset. Not a slogan, not a statement, not a documentary trailer, not a birthday montage, and not a dinner party denial. A real reset would look quieter, slower, and less self-protective. It would require understanding that royal access is not content, children are not props, kindness is not a tagline, privacy is not a mood, and lifestyle authority cannot be borrowed from a title. The public has seen too many versions of the performance. What it has not seen enough of is restraint. And until that changes, even the smallest remark from someone like Martha Stewart will keep doing what this one did, cutting through the polish and reminding everyone that the real issue is not the jam, the cookies, the kitchen, or the palace. The real issue is whether